Hey, what's up guys, MGH here and welcome back to another instalment of my Transfer Roundup series. It has been a little while, I've got to say the window has slowed down a little bit as we approach the end of the transfer window, August 9th, it's not long left to go. But today we've got quite a big roundup actually, quite a few big transfers went down last week and it's time to catch up. So first of all you'll see on screen right now, Moutinho, yes, not some other random Moutinho, the Moutinho that's full of experience, he's played at the top level for many, many years, has moved to Wolves. They just continue to amaze me, they really do. Yes, they have been buying a lot of Portuguese players, but a lot of experienced Portuguese players that for me will 100% keep them up next season. And for just £5 million. Again, I just want to reiterate, this isn't some young Moutinho who just happens to have the same name as the Moutinho we all know and love. It's the Moutinho who's been at Monaco. He's obviously been at Porto before that. He's been such a great player for Portugal and his clubs for so long, and now we're going to see him in the Premier League. And that might just be one of the biggest bargains of the century as well. £5 million for a player of that quality and that experienced. It's an unbelievable signing. So well done to Wolves. I cannot wait to see them in action in the season. Now, of course, it's not just Wolves that have been recently promoted and busy in the transfer window, so have Fulham. They've been doing equally as well, and they've just gone ahead and signed Schürrle on loan. This is another big signing. £360,000 as the loan fee, and they get themselves a World Cup winner, ex-Chelsea, ex-Dortmund. He's been incredible throughout his career. He's had moments where, okay, he hasn't been as great as he could have been, but for me, for a club like Fulham, who've just been promoted, to get themselves Andre Schürrle, who, yes, has been disappointing at Dortmund, there's no denying it. He was disappointing at Wolfsburg as well, but he got into that World Cup squad and played. They won the World Cup with him in the squad. You don't get into that squad unless you're good, right? And also, when he was at Chelsea, I thought he was very impressive. He maybe didn't last there very long, but there were moments where I thought he actually fit in very nicely. So, can't wait to see him in action in the Premier League once again. And just £360,000 as a loan fee. I mean, some clubs, for example, when Renato Sanchez, the Bayern player, the young Portuguese player that really showed what he's got in the Euros, he was loaned to Swansea last season, and it was around £9 million. £9 million to loan a player. So 360,000 for a very decent German talent that is definitely going to elevate your squad is an absolute bargain. So Fulham and Wolves, they really have been winners in this transfer window. Now this one really interests me. Originally, Malcom was linked with Arsenal and I believe Bayern last January in that window. He was then linked with Roma this transfer window, and it looked like a deal was struck and it was done. Actually, it turns out there was a deal in place. He was joining Roma, and then suddenly out of nowhere, Barcelona came in, outbid Roma, and of course Malcom decided to join Barcelona instead. So he's now a Barcelona player for £37 million. What does this mean for Ousmane Dembele? This is the exciting part for me. Does this mean that Malcom's going to come in and effectively replace Ousmane Dembele? I don't think so. We'll soon find out. But let's talk about this deal and why it is such a big one. So first of all, he should be at Roma. I've looked into it, I've read what happened, and it's disgraceful. It really is very poor from Bordeaux. And they tried so hard to keep him last January. They practically scrambled everything they could together to keep him at the club for the rest of the season, knowing full well that he would be leaving. And the deal they had with Roma was solid. It really was. But somehow Barcelona found out. And Bordeaux are claiming that it was Roma that leaked it. And Roma are, of course, blaming Bordeaux. There's going to be some legal action. Who knows where that's going to go? But the main point is Malcom, one of the best young players in the world, he's got great potential to become a world great, is now a Barcelona player. Unbelievable that he's going to be learning from the likes of Messi, Coutinho. I mean, there's a lot of great talent at Barcelona that he's going to learn from. He's just going to get better and better. And for £37 million, I mean, it's not really that bad in today's market. And now another Brazilian winger that's been on the move, and this one was in the news for days before it happened. We all knew it was going to happen. That is Watford selling Richarlison to Everton for a massive £35 million, which could rise to, I think it was 38, maybe 39, depending on how many appearances he makes, whatever. It's a big deal, this, because we're looking at two different players here. We've got Malcom, who likes to play on the right. You've got Richarlison, who likes to play on the left. Both very similar ages. Both had a kind of breakout year. But you're looking at two different deals completely. It's actually quite crazy that they're both worth the same amount of money. You've got people saying that Richarlison is nowhere near worth that. He had a good few months at Watford and then really didn't show anything. And then you've got Malcom, who's done it in a league that isn't really that great, and they're saying that he isn't worth the money. The thing is, a player is only worth as much as a club is willing to pay for them. And if Everton were happy to pay £35 million, rising up to 40-ish or whatever it may be, that's just how much he's worth. And whilst you may not agree with it, I certainly do not think Richarlison is worth almost £40 million. It doesn't matter, ultimately. And I think he will do very well at Everton. I think they've got the great setup that he needs, that Watford maybe didn't have, a bit more of a defensive team, whereas Everton, they will play free-flowing football, and Richarlison will score them a lot of goals. And imagine if they do keep hold of Bolasie as well. You've got two very good wingers there. They've got Theo Walcott with pace as well. I mean, it's a strong team for Everton, but is this investment going to work out for them? We'll find out soon enough. Now, I need to give you guys a little bit of a warning. If you're a Chelsea fan, please don't hate me for this, because this is kind of a funny deal to me. Golovin, great World Cup with Russia, and actually, he's been very good for quite some time. Some people doubt that he's got great abilities because he's only showing it off in Russia, but still, looks like a very good player, has been linked with many big clubs. Chelsea looks set to get him, and yeah, I mean, he ended up at Monaco. How does this happen? I think quite clearly Monaco was the choice that he wants to make because he's guaranteed game time. If he goes to Chelsea, he'll end up like Danny Drinkwater, get a few minutes here and there. Unfortunately, Chelsea, mate, it's disappointing though, isn't it? Because when you're so heavily linked with a player and then you don't get him, it can be a little bit embarrassing. And I actually think he would have been great for Chelsea. I really do. I think he would have been a great acquisition for just £27 million as well. Whether or not Chelsea would have paid more, but Golovin just decided that he wanted game time over the big money move. He is still going to Monaco. It's done. £27 million. He's a Monaco player, and he'll do very well there as well. I'm pretty sure it's a stepping stone for him to once again move up in his career, going from Russia to France and then maybe to the Premier League or La Liga or the Bundesliga, the next step up. This is just a way for him to really make sure he's got that ability and show to everyone that he's got that ability. Because playing in Russia, you don't get much of the spotlight unless you're doing something really great, because it's not really, you don't really watch it over in Europe, do you, so much, over in England, I mean. So we'll see what happens. I'm actually a little bit gutted that he's not coming to the Premier League. I really enjoyed watching him in the World Cup. He was one of their best players for sure, for Russia. But Chelsea, what did you do? How are you not convincing Golovin to join you? And he ends up going to Monaco. It happens. Monaco are a great side, by the way. No disrespect to them. Now for the last confirmed transfer of this video, we have Mitrović, who has completed his permanent switch to Fulham. He was on loan there last season, was a big part of them getting up into the Premier League. And Newcastle clearly don't think that he's worth keeping hold of when they can sell him for £18 million. Is he worth that much? And once again, are Fulham really doing well in this window with this kind of deal, or is it a little bit of a rip-off? I don't know how I feel about this one. I didn't really watch the Championship last season too much, but Mitrović definitely has talent. He has had moments of brilliance for Newcastle, and I'm sure when he was playing at Fulham last year, he really did impress. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this. But £18 million, I'm yet to really understand if that's value for money right now. But still, Newcastle have made a nice chunk of money off him. Fulham have got themselves yet another great signing, and it's going to be interesting next season to see where Fulham and Wolves, for example, finish in the Premier League with all of these great signings. There's only one rumour I wanted to talk about in this episode, and that is, I think, a very unlikely one. I doubt it anyway, and this is Pickford being linked with Chelsea. Now, bear in mind that Pickford just had a very good World Cup. He's only had one season with Everton since signing with them last year for £30 million. Had a brilliant World Cup, had a brilliant season. Definitely, value's gone up. So some people think it will be 50 million plus. Now, the real reason I don't think this is going to happen, because one, Everton don't need to sell him. And two, it doesn't actually look like Courtois will be leaving Chelsea. At the moment, anyway. It's been one of those rumours that's, gone up, and then it's just kind of disappeared. And now it's coming back up again, and now it's being shut down again. There's been plenty of rumours about him going to Real Madrid, but nothing's happened. Apparently they've made a bid of 105 million, I think it was, for Courtois and Willian. I just don't see it happening. I think Pickford's a great goalkeeper, don't get me wrong, and there's a lot of hype around him right now. Is he good enough to replace Courtois, though? I'm a little bit unsure about that, especially for an asking price of 50 million plus. It might even be more than 60 million. Who knows? Everton could quite literally charge as much as they feel like, because he's under contract for a long time. He's only just signed a 5-year contract last year, I think it was. So they don't have to sell him cheap, and he won't go for cheap. But if Chelsea can get him, then fair play, because Pickford would be a great player for them in the future. And he does look to be one of the better English goalkeepers that we've had in quite a while. But that's going to wrap up this transfer roundup video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe for more. Make sure you drop a like. And I've got more FIFA 19 content coming at you very soon, so stick around for that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.